Flyer friends, here we have before us a 1953 301, and one of the things that's interesting about this engine, which if you've been around my stuff, videos and whatnot, you've seen a couple of these, but one of the things that I kind of appreciate about these humble 301 Atlantics is that they stay true to the number sequencing that Flyer used. So the 301 says that this is going to have just the choo-choo and no smoke, and they actually did that on this one. Now, they didn't necessarily hold true to that on any other steam engine that I'm aware of. 321 sometimes had choo-choo and smoke, and I'm sure there are those of you out there that could tell me about other numbers that should have just had choo-choo according to the numbers, but they would have smoke as well. But this is one that doesn't have smoke, and the owner that sent it to me wants me to clean it up, go through it, convert the link to knuckle on the back, and told me to check the smoke unit. And so I'm going to have the unfortunate privilege of telling him that there is none, which is going to probably not be the news he wants to hear. But anyhow, I've just put it out here on the rolling road, and let's see what we get with power applied. Okay, we get a click in the tender. Sometimes. No headlight, which there should be headlight, so it could be that the wiring here to the jack panel is just too badly frayed. It may even not be connected on one of the pins. So, not a problem, but this is where we're starting. I'll bring you back when there's an update. So I've got the reverse fingers installed on the reverse unit. I've got the drum polished, as well as some other cleaning done on that. And I decided to bring the camera back because someone recently asked me about replacing rivets on tender trucks. And sometimes I see them like this, sometimes they're even worse than this, where they're, about ready to fall through the tender floor. And what's going on is somebody probably did a repair and they didn't have a soldering gun that got hot, really hot. And if you have a cheaper soldering iron, which for many years that's all I had, it just took forever to heat these things up enough to get the solder to turn to liquid, because what's going on is you've got all this mass down here that's whisking away the heat. It's just, it's going into the brass pickup, it's going into the truck side frames, it's going in potentially into the chassis, and so it's constantly wicking the heat away. So it just takes a lot of heat to overcome that. And in the course of all that time, the insulators can fail, and it's possible to pin these rivets down to try and tighten something up like this. But my concern is, with as loose as this is, the insulation is failing, and this particular plastic piece here that goes, we can see the ridge of it, actually has a collar underneath it that's recessed a bit, that then isolates the metal in the chassis from power going down through it. And because this thing is so loose, I'm concerned that has been compromised, either broken or melted or both. And so this is one of those situations where, in good conscience, to know that this repair is going to be good for the customer, I need to go ahead and change this out. Okay, so let me get a new rivet insulator down so you can see what that looks like. Alright, so here I've got two different packages. One of these is for your Hudson tenders, which need a longer rivet body or shank, and then the shorter ones are for most of Atlantics and Pacifics and that kind of thing. So that's what these are here. The rivet itself is not super long, but it has contour there, and it's got that recessed piece that fits down the tender hole. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one, and then I will bring you all back to show you what that looks like. And then these, as I mentioned, these are longer, and these would be for like a Hudson K5, I believe, would also be similar, and Northern. I think those are the three that use these longer ones. So there's different ways you can remove an old rivet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a drill bit in my drill and just drill out this bottom flange. So this raised lip that goes around the outside, I'm going to drill that away, and then I should be able to pull the pickup and the truck away from the bottom of the tender. There's going to be a plastic washer insulator above that, and then the rivet should just fall out on the other side. So I guess it was providential to work on this, because while I was working on pulling the rivet out through, you can see I've got the bottom drilled out. It actually came right through the tender shell. So somewhere here, I think, I don't know where it went, was a plastic ring that had been around the outside. So like I said, my suspicion was that was failing, and that suspicion was correct. So again, I'm going to go back to drilling this out, and then I'll bring it back. Okay, so here is the ridge that I hadn't been able to find earlier, and that formerly went around here, like you see here. It just basically is this piece. And so here's the new rivet, and you have this concentric reduction piece that goes underneath it. Looks like that. And that goes here on top. Okay, and then below and above the truck and between the bottom of the tender frame, you have a plastic insulating washer. And then through that hole, and on the underside of the truck, you first have a wiper, and then you have a washer, and then you ping over the bottom of the rivet so that it holds everything together. So that's the essential bits and pieces to securing the truck. Now, while I've got this all apart, I noticed that there's a whole lot of slop here in this rivet, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage to tighten that up for them. And I'll go ahead and remove the wheels as well, because I typically do that anyhow, to clean and ultimately lubricate. Of course, polish up the wipers too. So thought you might find some of this interesting. And like I said, the reverse installation is this piece here, goes down through the top, that comes through this hole here, and you need to put this washer on. Don't forget this washer, because if you forget this washer, you'll have a dead short. And then on the underside of this truck goes the wiper, and then the washer goes next to kind of help hold the washer down, and then that's where you ping your rivet. All right, thanks for watching. Hi, Brent, back with your lovely little 301, and here's what we got. Now, I've done nothing with the engine yet. Everything I've done so far has been in the tender. So, what did I do back here? Well, new fingers, new wiring, new front truck rivet, of course polished and cleaned everything, and I've got a knuckle coupler back here in place of the link coupler, like you requested. Got everything cleaned up down here. So, just wanted to show you what's going on, and making some progress here on this little guy. So next will be to remove the engine shell and disassemble the engine. I'm sure it is wanting some lubrication, and I'm sure it will run much better than it does now with some lubrication and cleaning. So I'll bring you back for that when it's ready. Hey Brent, I wanted to bring you back. I'm trying to think I can do this with one hand. And the reason being, when I loosened up the screws to take the crosshead guide off, they made that certain sound that screws make if they've never been removed before. So yeah, this thing's pretty dirty, needs a lot of cleaning, but it's always exciting to come across one of these engines. Let's see if this makes that sound. Yep, that pop. That is the sound that you only get. It's like opening a bag of fresh something or other. So pretty fun. I know it's a humble engine, but still, it's pretty neat that this has never been cracked open since it left the factory. And again, it does run. We're just going to get it running better. Well, welcome back. We've got things cleaned up in the motor, armature dressed, and straightened out a little bit. and everything's polished and lubricated. I like to polish the brush holders and the inside of the clips. I do the outside too, but the inside just to remove any oxidation, just to help things run better. I've got a temporary bulb in here. The owner wants an LED, but for now, we'll just go ahead and put this guy on there. Reverse. Forward. Now, I contacted the owner because his note asked me to review the smoke unit in this thing, which, as I mentioned before, this does not have the smoke unit. It has a choo-choo. Smoke unit generally goes out here like this. So it's, not necessarily a big deal to add a smoke unit. And so I contacted the owner asking if that's something he would like done. This is I'm going to do a little more cleanup on the wheels and chassis, that kind of thing. But I'm a bit of a standstill for the moment until I hear from him how he wants to proceed. Also, just to look inside the shell of the date here, 1953, January 1953 to be exact, is when this was birthed out of the American Flyer A.C. Gilbert Erector Square factory in Connecticut. So, pretty cool. All right, thanks for watching. Well, that was not much fun at all. The owner wants me to replace this choo-choo with the smoking choo-choo, and the screw that went up here to the front was up on here was frozen. It was absolutely locked in there. I used WD-40, I used heat, I used an impact screwdriver, and finally got it out. But that was a lot of effort for one screw, and there's no way I'm going to have to replace it with a new one. There's no way I'm going to reuse this thing. I don't quite understand what's going on with the threads, and yeah. Anyhow, the bottom one came out no problem. This other one came out lickety split. So yeah. So I guess it is what it is. Here's the new used smoke unit, completely refreshed. New wick, new nichrome, cleaned inside and out, ready to rock and roll. And got my ohm tester on here, and I've got the nichrome set at 33, probably be 33 to 34, 33 and a half, somewhere in there. By the time I have it soldered on, I'll check it again just to see. But that's the money right there. 32 to 35 is the sweet spot. So that's good. Anyhow, all right, back to the work at hand. Well, Brent, here we have a very nice 301 example. The shell cleaned up extremely nicely. I mean, there's a little bit of scratching, a little bit of play stuff, strange little red mark here. I don't know what that's from, but I mean, overall, it is immaculate. This is a very, very nice 301 Atlantic for that matter. I mean, this is about as nice as they come. You've got both of these little steps here at the front, which those oftentimes are broken, one or both of them. The inside of the shell is as beautiful as the outside in terms of the posts aren't broken, with one exception. For some reason, the inside tender screw post is broken. Besides that, everything else is perfect. And so you've got 3 screws holding the shell and the frame together, so I didn't mess with trying to fix that. It's solid. It's not going anywhere. Hi, Brent. So here we go. Been running for about 10 minutes now. You can see I've taken a few cars off, but we're running around 10 volts. Just a nice steady pace. I have added smoke fluid because, as we discussed, you got to keep it filled. And I didn't really put that much in initially. I get the wick wet as I'm putting it in, but then I need to, after everything's together, I need to fill it. So here you go. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I mean, the engine runs really good. Let's see, if you want to peel out, you can. I mean, it will run a lot faster than it is. Let's see, this is at 15 volts on wide radius curves. Probably on traditional flyer track, I don't know if you may not get this fast. It may come off track. This is only 15 volts right here. It'll go faster. You've still got 3 more volts on this big transformer, and I'm not going to run it that fast because it'll fly off the track. So anyhow, but this is a great kind of cruising engine. It is light, has no traction tires. So that's why I was kind of trying to figure out what load was appropriate for it. And this is a good load. Working a tiny bit. I've got a little bit of a grade on this main loop on this end here, and it doesn't spin. But when I put 3 cars, well, actually 4 cars, it would spin a little bit. 5 cars, it would spin a lot. So, but if your layout's completely flat, you'll be able to pull, probably 4 or 5 cars with ease. So there you go. Enjoy. Yeah, like I said, you're going to have one smoking engine. And it's been a pleasure working on this guy. Take care.